Today, dogs sleep in our beds. They ride in our cars. They have birthday parties. Some people talk to their dogs more than they talk to other humans. And when a dog dies, the grief can feel overwhelming. Now think about that for a second. Dogs are not human. They are not our children. They are not even our species. Yet somehow, millions of people feel a bond with a dog that rivals the bond they feel with family. But here's the strange part. 30,000 years ago, dogs didn't exist. There were only wolves, wild predators with powerful jaws, animals that could easily kill a human. So how did one of humanity's most dangerous competitors become humanity's favorite companion? Why do humans love dogs so much? To answer that question, we have to go back to a world that looked nothing like our own. A world where survival was never guaranteed. A world where being alone could mean death. Imagine standing in an ice age camp. The air is freezing. The wind cuts through animal skins. The sun has disappeared behind the horizon. Darkness spreads across the landscape. Your tribe gathers around a small fire. Beyond the glow of the flames lies an endless wilderness. And that wilderness is full of things that want to eat you. Cave lions, hyenas, bears, other human groups. Every night is dangerous. Every sound matters. Every mistake can be fatal. Modern humans often forget how vulnerable we once were. We like to imagine our ancestors as fearless hunters. But the truth is more complicated. Humans were intelligent. Humans were cooperative. But physically, we were not impressive. We couldn't outrun predators. We couldn't smell danger from miles away. We couldn't hear movement in the darkness, compared to many animals. We were surprisingly fragile, and that created a problem. Humans needed help, not from another tribe, not from another human, from something else. Something with better senses. Something that could detect danger before we could. And that's where the story begins. Not with friendship, not with affection, with survival. Because long before wolves became pets, they became opportunists. Human camps produced food scraps, bones, fat, pieces of meat. For hungry wolves, this was valuable. Most wolves stayed away. Humans were dangerous. But then something strange happened. A few wolves were different. They were less aggressive, less fearful, more curious. Instead of running from humans, they watched from a distance. Instead of attacking, they lingered. And those wolves gained an advantage. They found food more easily. They survived harsh winters more often. They had more offspring generation after generation. The calmest wolves succeeded over time. Natural selection began favoring friendliness. Not friendship, not yet, just tolerance. But tolerance was enough to start changing history. Imagine two groups of wolves. One group attacks humans. The humans drive them away. The wolves starve. The other group keeps its distance. The humans ignore them. The wolves eat leftovers. Which group survives? The answer seems obvious. And evolution loves obvious answers. Over thousands of years, those calmer wolves became increasingly different from their wild relatives. Their behavior changed, their appearance changed. Even their brains changed. Slowly, almost invisibly, wolves were becoming dogs. But the transformation wasn't one-sided. Humans were changing too. Because the relationship offered enormous benefits. Imagine sleeping in an ancient camp. You hear nothing, but the animals nearby suddenly become alert. Their ears rise, their bodies tense. A low growl breaks the silence. Something is approaching, maybe a predator, maybe strangers. Either way, your tribe now has precious extra seconds to react. Dogs became an early warning system, living alarms, security guards, hunting partners, tracking experts. The relationship saved lives, and survival creates powerful bonds. Now here's the important part. Humans did not simply keep dogs because they were useful. If that were true, we would feel the same way about every useful animal. But we don't. We use horses. We use cattle. We use chickens. Yet the emotional connection is different. Dogs became something else, something closer, something almost human. And modern science may explain why. Researchers have discovered something remarkable. When humans and dogs look into each other's eyes, both experience a rise in oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It's heavily involved in the relationship between parents and children. This sounds fake, but it's true. A dog looking at its owner can trigger some of the same biological systems involved in human attachment. In other words, dogs learned how to connect with the human brain itself, not consciously, not intentionally, through thousands of years of evolution. The dogs that bonded most effectively with humans received more food, more protection, more opportunities to survive. So generation after generation, dogs became increasingly skilled at understanding us. And the results are extraordinary. Dogs can follow human pointing gestures better than wolves. Many dogs recognize emotional expressions. They often sense stress before humans say a word. Some can detect medical emergencies, others can locate missing people. They are experts at reading us. In many ways, dogs understand humans better than any other animal on Earth. But there is another reason we love them. A deeper reason, a more emotional one. Think about human relationships. They are complicated. Friends disappoint us. Coworkers compete with us. Strangers judge us. Even family relationships can be difficult, but dogs are different. A dog doesn't care how much money you have. A dog doesn't care about your social status. A dog doesn't care if you had a bad day. To a dog, you're often enough. And for social creatures like humans, that kind of acceptance is incredibly powerful, especially when loneliness is becoming more common, especially when many people feel disconnected from their communities. Dogs provide something ancient, something our ancestors depended on: companionship, belonging, connection. The very things that helped humans survive in tribes for hundreds of thousands of years in a strange way, dogs help fill a social need that evolution never removed. And there is evidence that this bond goes back much further than most people realize. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient graves where humans and dogs were buried together, not near each other. Together. One burial discovered in Germany dates back roughly 14,000 years. A human, a dog resting side by side. Think about what that means. Someone cared enough about that animal to place it beside them in death, not as a tool, not as property, as a companion, a friend. Even thousands of years ago, people were forming emotional bonds with dogs that looked surprisingly modern. The relationship had already become something more than survival, something more than convenience. It had become love. And that may be one of the most extraordinary stories in human history, because most species compete, most species avoid each other, most species never truly connect, yet humans and dogs built something different. Together, we crossed continents. Together, we hunted. Together, we survived ice ages. Together, we changed each other's evolution. Dogs became more social because of us. Humans became safer because of them. Both species shaped the other, and the partnership never ended. Tonight, somewhere in the world, a dog will curl up beside a sleeping human. The human will feel comforted. The dog will feel safe. Neither will think about ancient camps. Neither will think about wolves. Neither will think about the countless generations that made that moment possible. But that history is still there. Hidden beneath every wagging tail. Hidden beneath every excited greeting. Hidden beneath every quiet moment shared between two species that chose to trust each other. And maybe that's why humans love dogs so much. Because deep down, dogs remind us of something ancient. A time when survival depended on connection. A time when loyalty meant life. A time when two very different species looked at each other across the darkness and decided to stay.